dangerous. Don't be doing that.
Right, it's as terrifying as it is awe-inspiring. What's believed to be the biggest great white shark ever caught on camera.
There are plenty of big, scary sharks lurking in the ocean, many of them around Australia, but that's a story for another day. With so many out there ready to chomp on an errant ankle or mistake you for a tasty snack, it makes you wonder about megalodons. Sure, they say these giants are extinct, but can we really be sure? Has anyone truly explored every corner of the ocean? From the biggest, scariest great whites to the latest shocking photos released by the Navy, here are 20 terrifying sharks that just might be megalodon. Number 20. Phillip Island's great white shark. In the 1970s, an enormous great white shark was captured off the coast of Phillip Island, which is located just off the southern coast of Australia. A man by the name of Vic Hislop was responsible for the capture, which turned out to be an almighty 20 feet long and weighed a ridiculous 2 tons. The shark itself was estimated to be about 65 years old. Initially, people were impressed with the incredible catch, which had allegedly taken 5 days of effort by the fishermen. Reports claimed that the battle to capture the shark was intense, with Hislop and his crew employing everything from harpoons to specially reinforced fishing lines. Over the days, the shark reportedly displayed tremendous power, even dragging the boat a considerable distance during the struggle. Once it was finally brought ashore, the sheer size of the shark became a spectacle, drawing crowds from all over to witness this marine giant. However, this enthusiasm soon began to wane as environmentalists questioned the killing of the shark, especially considering its age and size. Whether the shark had been doing any people menacing or not is actually unclear, but there are an awful lot of sharks in Australia, so it's possible that there's always one who's trying to eat somebody somewhere. Number 19. Hammerhead shark. Florida fishermen made the evening news with their catch of the day a few years back. The lucky guys had an encounter with an extraordinary 13-foot-long hammerhead shark in the waters off of Sanibel Island in Florida. The 3 men filmed their amazing catch as they managed to bring the shark into shallower water to get a look at the fruits of their labor. The fishermen had been out in the Gulf of Mexico using the hammerhead's favorite food, the stingray, as bait, hoping for a big catch. But when they realized they had snagged a gigantic shark, they couldn't believe their good fortune. A hammerhead had caught the line about 200 yards out to sea, so the men wrestled the magnificent animal for more than half an hour to get it back towards the beach. They got their epic photos and then released the shark back into the sea. They were overwhelmed with the sheer strength of the massive shark and thoroughly enjoyed the unique close-up experience with the beautiful beast. That shark doesn't quite look so thrilled with the unexpected trip to the beach, though now does it? Number 18. World's biggest great white shark. One of the biggest great white sharks ever captured on film has also been capturing many imaginations in her time on Earth. The gargantuan great white, known as Deep Blue, measures an estimated 20 feet long, which is pretty massive when you consider that an average great white shark measures just 11 to 15 feet, and that's pretty big anyway. This extraordinary animal has stunned marine biologists, who are fascinated by not only the magnificent creature itself but also her age, as they believe she may be more than 50 years old. Great whites do continue to grow as they age, so this huge shark will simply keep on getting bigger the older she gets. The Old Lady of the Sea was filmed in an amazing encounter back in 2013 off the coast of Mexico's Guadalupe Island in the Pacific Ocean. Scientists have managed to tag Deep Blue, so they've been able to track the movement of the huge shark, and I, for one, am kind of relieved that someone's keeping tabs on this scary big shark, so at least there might be a warning if I'm about to take a paddle in the old lady's snack bowl. Number 17. Alf Dean's Great White. Another world record from back in the 1950s. This time we have a record that was set in 1959 by a guy named Alfred Dean in Australia, who caught a colossal great white shark with a regular old rod and reel. The guy must have had some serious upper body strength and a whole bunch of grit. Frankly, if you have a great white shark on the end of your fishing line, is your instinct to reel it in, or would you be chucking your rod overboard and powering towards land as fast as your motor would take you? Not Dean. The guy stood his ground and came away from the encounter with a 2,664-pound great white shark on the end of his fishing line. Many people believe that this astonishing record will likely never be broken. That's one big fish after all. He swore up until his dying day that there was a bigger one out there, and although he spent his entire life in pursuit of that bigger fish, he never bettered his own record. No one who has managed to catch a great white since has even come within 750 pounds of the mega shark that Dean caught back in the day. So, for now, he remains a legend among fishermen. Number 16. Gargantuan bull shark. A free diver off the coast of Florida had a really intimate experience with one of the more bitey types of sharks out there. This bull shark was very close to John Moore as he was diving near Jupiter, Florida. It's safe to say that he made it out alive, but these incredible images show just how massive and powerful these creatures are. And she's not really shy to show her dental work either. She was a heavily pregnant and, frankly, absolutely massive creature. As if it wasn't sharky enough in all the oceans, these ones have also decided that they live in warm, shallow waters, not only along the coast but also in freshwater rivers and estuaries. Yes, the bull shark is not really fussy about its habitat. It likes to go for a swim a long way, so you never know quite where it might pop up next. Oh, and they are notoriously aggressive. The sharks have been known to swim all the way up the Mississippi River, as far as Alton, Illinois, which is 700 miles from the ocean. This news is not exactly reassuring when you find out that it's the bull shark, not the great white, which is responsible for almost all nearshore shark attacks. They're large and solid sharks with one of the more fierce bites among any type of fish. And the scariest thing about this species of shark is that they can be found just about anywhere, from the Ohio River to the Ganges, from Sydney Harbor to the Jersey Shore. I'm seriously reconsidering that canoeing vacation now, aren't you? Now it's time for today's topic. In a recently declassified report, the Navy released chilling photos from an expedition back in 2018. During a routine deep-sea survey, one of their ship's sonar detected a massive object lurking just a few miles away. At first, the crew suspected it might be an unidentified submarine, possibly from a foreign nation, given its enormous size and unusual movement. Concerned but curious, they deployed a naval helicopter to investigate. As the helicopter crew hovered over the location, they captured a startling image, a colossal shark-like creature breaching the surface, dwarfing even the largest known great white sharks. This mysterious creature bore a striking resemblance to the long-extinct Megalodon, a prehistoric predator thought to have vanished millions of years ago. The sheer size and power of the creature, seen from above, left the crew in awe and fear. Scientists reviewing the images are hesitant to confirm the creature's identity, but some believe it could be a relic from the prehistoric era, somehow surviving in the deep, unexplored regions of our oceans. The Navy's footage has sparked intense debate among marine biologists and cryptozoologists, reigniting the question, could the Megalodon still roam the depths? Number 15. Tiger shark. Tiger sharks are common enough in the water around Australia that fishermen are actually allowed to keep a tiger shark in their daily catch. That fact didn't stop people from expressing concern and even outrage when images emerged of this massive tiger shark squeezed into a tiny fishing boat. Tiger sharks are now considered near endangered on the IUCN's red list, but despite a decrease in their numbers, estimated to be 74% lower than 50 years ago, they're not at risk enough to warrant the protection of Australian law. Some environmental groups argue that more stringent restrictions should be put in place to help preserve the population of these apex predators before it's too late. Moreover, tiger sharks play an essential role in maintaining the balance of the marine ecosystem, as they help control populations of smaller fish species. The 870-pound catch of the day looked like a sorry sight as the fishermen steered their boat back into harbor in Sydney. It caused quite the hoo-ha when people took umbrage with the men's apparent carelessness over their catch. This debate raged on, with all sorts of discussions about the fate of the tiger shark. The New South Wales Game Fishing Association poked their oar in as well, stating that they are not out there to just murder everything that's in the water. Those guys have only taken one fish, and while that may be true, it still sucks to be that one fish. Number 14. Massive shark caught on camera off New England coast. A group of people on a boat off the coast of Massachusetts came rather too close for comfort with an absolutely massive shark. It swam alongside the vessel for a while and thoughtfully allowed itself to be captured really clearly on some lovely drone footage. This shark was so very large indeed that it did set off all the questions, perhaps legitimately, of whether or not it's a megalodon. I mean, probably not, because those things are extinct, but it is one big shark nonetheless. As the giant figure loomed next to the boat, some passengers couldn't resist speculating wildly, convinced they'd witnessed the resurgence of a prehistoric beast. This basking shark, however, had no interest in making a meal of the onlookers, as it feeds solely on plankton, filtering it through its massive gills. For anyone brave enough, basking sharks are known to be quite docile around humans, despite their intimidating size. At one point, the enormous shark even drifted closer to the boat, offering a clear view of its impressive, gaping mouth, a sight that sent shivers down a few spines on board. Megalodons were a species believed to be the largest shark to have ever existed, and it's been estimated that the adult megalodon might have been as long as 30 feet. However, some people, and there are always a few, aren't there, reckon that the megalodon was 80 feet long. This shark in the waters off Massachusetts is no such creature. While it may be big, it is basically harmless. It is a basking shark, which happens to be the second largest species of all sharks in existence, and they can grow to be about 26 feet long. So, that's still pretty impressive, but sadly, it's not some miraculous relic from a prehistoric bygone era. Number 13. Giant mako shark. The macabre sight of a huge 1,300-pound mako shark strung up by its tail is the ultimate result for a group of shark fishermen from Huntington Beach, Los Angeles. These guys get together for a spot of shark fishing about 20 days out of the year, Sometimes they get lucky, sometimes the shark gets luckier. On this particular day back in 2013, they took the boat out into the waters off the California coast and sprinkled some of what they call their secret sauce onto the surface. This sauce consists of the shark-enticing combination of chopped up mackerel and ground chum. Delicious. Fairly quickly, there was an interested customer. A whopping great big mako shark was circling, looking for some tasty treats. The crew could feel the tension rise as the shark grew bolder, inching closer with every pass. When it finally took the bait, the battle was intense, with the shark thrashing and pulling, nearly tipping the boat over at one point. As the fight dragged on, the exhaustion of both the shark and the fisherman became apparent, with adrenaline fueling the final minutes. The mako's strength was undeniable, and hauling it aboard took everything the team had. Johnston, the boat's captain, said afterward that it was the scariest thing he'd ever done in his life. You just gotta wonder how the shark felt about it all, though. Number 12. Great white shark. Here are some utterly terrifying images that show just how flimsy a little boat can feel when you're confronted by a massive great white shark. David Tuckfield and his family were fishing from their small vessel off the coast of Western Australia when a very large and very grumpy great white shark took umbrage with their activities and made sure to make them fully aware of its displeasure. The massive creature circled the boat several times, just as sharks are famous for, and then it literally began to attack the little boat, and you know that's got to be utterly horrifying. It was a great white shark that would stalk the coastline in the famous 1975 movie Jaws, and this really is one massive and terrifying sea monster. The great white is a purpose-built killing machine, with so many adaptations and features designed to make this shark one of the most efficient hunters on the planet. They have 3 rows of viciously sharp teeth, about 300 in total. It seems that as many as half of all shark attacks on humans in the world may be attributed to great whites. Although these sharks may not always be out to kill the humans they nibble on, I don't know how you can tell if a shark has good intentions. Some scientists have suggested that the shark is merely curious and taking a sample taste of a human, but will then discard them when it realizes that it's not really what it's looking for. Not too comforting for the victim. The sheer size and enthusiasm of the bite means that many great white, snack-sized nibbles are fatal anyway. Number 11. Sixgill shark. Back in 2002, an angler by the name of Clemens Rump, seriously, that is his name, would catch a massive sixgill shark off the coast of Ascension Island in the South Atlantic Ocean. This colossal creature weighed a staggering 1,298 pounds and would surprise everyone because it's rarely seen, let alone captured. The blunt-nosed sixgill shark, which is also sometimes called the cow shark, can grow up to be about 20 feet long. It's mainly found in temperate and tropical waters, and its diet will vary depending on location. Known to feed on a mix of fish, crustaceans, and even smaller sharks, the sixgill shark is an opportunistic predator that takes advantage of the deep-sea buffet. Its slow-moving, almost lumbering style makes it appear less threatening, but it's still a powerful predator that can pack a punch. The fact that these sharks live at such extreme depths makes them a rare sight in scientific research, adding to their mysterious allure. The sixgill's lineage dates back to prehistoric times, giving it some unique adaptations that likely helped it survive for millions of years. Oddly enough, though, this shark is not closely related to any other species of living shark. In fact, it has more close relatives that are fossils than those who are living today. They mostly inhabit deep waters and are rarely seen in anything shallower than 39 feet, and that's usually just the juveniles. Adult sixgills are generally found at depths below 330 feet, so it's no small wonder that old Clemens Rump had a bit of a shock when he hauled in this big boy. Number 10. Sand tiger shark. The sand tiger shark looks mean, but really it's a pussycat. Well, actually, it's still a shark, but it is pretty docile and not really considered a threat to humans. There are actually only a couple of recorded cases where a sand tiger shark has attacked a person, despite their super scary set of teeth and their sinister eyes. Also, and this is rather a relief, the sand tiger shark is in no way related to the much scarier and much bittier tiger shark. Apart from also being a shark and having a lot of teeth and scary eyes and whatnot. No, they do not share a temperament or a taste for nibbling on human limbs, and for that, we can indeed be most grateful. But that's how it goes now, isn't it? We should be less quick to judge things based on appearance. Although the jagged teeth of the sand tiger shark might give it the look of a dangerous beast, their jaws are not actually large enough to cause a human fatality. So, much like any other shark, if they do bite you, it's only because they've mistaken you for something much tastier like a fish or a crustacean. And frankly, they're not going to attempt to finish you off. That would be far too much work for something very undelicious indeed. Number 9. Mexico's great white shark. It's not often that a fisherman with a big fish story actually brings that big fish home, but in 2012, 2 fishermen in Mexico brought home something of a whopper, and it was basically completely by accident. Out doing some regular-sized fishing in the Sea of Cortez, these fishermen were hauling in their net when they were shocked to discover an absolutely massive great white shark instead of a load of smaller fish. The unfortunate beast was already dead when the fishermen hauled their nets in, so they had to figure out a way to get the monster back to shore. Given its size, the shark would have likely dominated the ecosystem, preying on anything it encountered. Its discovery left local scientists puzzled, as great whites are rarely found in that particular area of the Sea of Cortez. Some speculate that changes in water temperatures or food sources may have led this giant into more unfamiliar waters. The event drew a lot of attention, and people from nearby villages came just to witness the massive creature. Eventually, they decided to tow the mighty beast back to land, where they were met by astonished locals in the coastal village who were more than happy to assist with the big job of eating the enormous thing. They must have been eating leftovers for weeks. I mean, just look at the size of it. Number 8. Oceanic white-tip shark. The oceanic white-tip shark is very common in all the oceans in the warmer latitudes. These creatures live in the open seas and are effective top predators. White-tips are keen on a diet of both bony fish and squid, and they really like to get together and get involved with their dinners. If you do see a shark feeding frenzy, it's more often than not these guys who are the enthusiastic eaters in question. They are one of the few predatory species of sharks that do enjoy eating together. That makes them seem a whole bit scarier now, doesn't it? What's particularly unsettling is their tendency to follow ships, sometimes for miles, as they wait for scraps or any potential prey that might fall overboard. These sharks have been known to circle their targets for hours, assessing before they strike, which shows a level of patience and intelligence. During World War II, the oceanic whitetip was reportedly responsible for a number of attacks on shipwreck survivors stranded at sea, further adding to its fearsome reputation. This makes them one of the most dangerous open ocean sharks, despite their generally elusive nature. They're also counted among the few species of sharks that are known to have bitten, and unfortunately killed, a human. These incidents are apparently rare, but that doesn't make them seem any cuter or friendlier. Now does it? Yes, as usual when this happens, it's generally chalked up to a case of mistaken identity. I meant to eat the other guy, Your Honor, honest. But knowing that a shark only accidentally bit you and killed you isn't an enormous help when that taste it took makes you dead. Number 7. Mundus great white shark. In the clam and chowder house at Salivar's Dock in Montauk, New York, there's a gruesome reminder of an enormous killer shark that once stalked the waters nearby, its head. That's right, the actual head of the monster is mounted on the wall for all to see while they munch down on their seafood. Very appetizing, I'm sure. The shark it had once belonged to was an enormous 3,427-pounder. And it had been caught by a fisherman with a rod and reel about 30 miles southeast of Montauk all the way back in the summer of 1986. That's one impressive catch on a fishing line, but it did not quite beat the existing record. The mounted head is a chilling sight, with rows of razor-sharp teeth that give diners an idea of the raw power this predator once had. Local legends suggest that the shark had been terrorizing fishing boats in the area for months before it was finally caught. People say the sight of it thrashing in the water was something out of a horror film, and the struggle to reel it in reportedly lasted several hours. The sheer size of the head alone serves as a reminder of the often overlooked dangers lurking in these waters. And for those who venture out to fish in Montauk, it's both a thrilling and intimidating sight. That one remains in Australia, where all the biggest, baddest, and scariest sharks live, and they can keep them if you ask me. Well, that was a rather toothsome time that we've had together. Number 6. Prince Edward Island shark. Back in 1983, an absolutely colossal great white shark was hauled up dead in a net off of Prince Edward Island in Canada, and it was such a big creature that it really drew rather a lot of attention. Recently, it's been included in the Discovery Channel's Most Legendary Sharks Ever, where they concluded that it was not only gigantic, but it was actually only a teenager and therefore may have continued to grow to an even more enormous size. Interestingly, it's estimated that this shark weighed close to 2 tons, which, if it had matured, could have increased dramatically. The shark's death sparked conversations among local fishermen, some of whom claim to have seen similar beasts lurking in the waters over the years. Additionally, the discovery of this young giant prompted scientists to study the growth rates of great whites more closely, revealing that they age at a slower rate than once thought. Scientists now believe that great whites may live as long as 70 years, giving them ample time to reach massive sizes. This colossal find on Prince Edward Island reminds us of just how big these creatures can get if left to mature in the wild. Number 5. Thresher shark. There are a lot of things that you need to worry about with sharks, but those things are usually at the front end and basically all contained inside the mouths. The thresher shark, well, it's kind of different. These things are equally dangerous at both ends. The thresher shark has a unique feature that makes it a deadly hunter, that being its tail. Unlike regular shark tails, the thresher has an especially long, whip-like tail that it uses to kill its prey. It has an especially ruthless technique, involving swimming at high speeds toward their prospective dinner, pulling up really fast, and then whipping their tail from behind over their heads and down onto the prey. They can whip their tails at up to 80 miles per hour, so that gives you an idea of just how very deadly the shark can be. The result of such force on a fish. Well, that thing makes a really big mess. Stuff more or less explodes out of everywhere. Swim bladders will rupture, spines will shatter, and bits and pieces will float about all over the show. The Thresher shark will then swim around in a casual manner as if it's simply perusing a buffet table and sampling the different dishes. Number 4. Blue shark. With big, round, staring eyes and a permanently gormless expression, these sharks have a strange, almost unreal appearance. But that doesn't mean that the blue shark isn't a formidable predator nonetheless. These sharks often grow up to 9 or 10 feet in length, but they do tend to eat smaller prey like fish and squids, often in deeper waters where they find an abundance of these sorts of snacks. The blue shark is a migratory animal. They'll travel across entire oceans many times over the course of their lives, all in search of resources and for mating purposes as well. When they do find a mate, things can get a bit aggressive. The male blue shark will often bite the female when they're doing that special cuddle, so the female blue shark has developed an extra thick skin in order to prevent herself from being injured during all the rumpy-pumpy. These sharks are found all over the world. In fact, they have the widest distribution of any species of shark, and although it's relatively rare, there are a few recorded incidents of them biting humans. But, likely as not, this is usually just an accident, and sharks in general will be curiously tasting rather than planning to scoff the whole human without deciding if it's actually tasty or not. That's wonderfully reassuring. Then, you might make it out alive with just a little bit of a nibble missing. Number 3. El Monstruo. Now, we've met Deep Blue, the biggest great white shark believed to be living today. But before her, there was another whopper out there by the name of El Monstruo. El Monstruo would be caught in 1945 off the coast of Havana, Cuba. This is another one of those sharks that the Discovery Channel deemed worthy of an investigation for its most legendary shark show. What this actually means is that the legend of El Monstruo has been confirmed as genuine, and they've been able to expand a little bit on its story. And it kind of goes like this. 6 fishermen set out to find a big, naughty shark that had been eating all of their fish. Armed only with ropes, harpoons, and a fierce determination, they headed into the open sea. As the story goes, the battle was relentless, with the shark diving and thrashing wildly, almost capsizing the boat several times. Some of the crew members reportedly suffered minor injuries as they struggled to keep the beast hooked. At one point, they nearly lost the shark, but a quick-thinking fisherman managed to secure the line just in time. When they eventually hauled it back to port, everyone in town rushed to see the colossus that had been captured. It measured 21 feet long, weighing in at 7,000 pounds, and they named the shark El Monstruo de Cojimar. And thus, the legend was born. Number 2. Blacktip shark. Blacktip sharks are extremely common, medium-sized sharks that are named for their black-tipped fins. These sharks can be found living in coastal waters close to beaches, in coral reefs, estuaries, and bays. As a migratory species, they do tend to hang around in groups and travel together in groups of females or males. Despite the fact that there are so many of them, they are actually at risk of overfishing and accidental capture because of the places they choose to hang around in all the time. These sharks are actually fished commercially, and their meat is popular in the markets of America, Mexico, and the Mediterranean. And the fins are also sold in East Asia. Blacktip sharks are fast and agile, often breaching the water's surface in dramatic spins as they chase schools of fish. This acrobatic behavior is not just a hunting tactic. It's thought to play a role in social interactions among the species. Known for their relatively timid nature, blacktips are not typically aggressive toward humans but can become agitated when food is present. Interestingly, they have a strong homing instinct, often returning to the same estuaries and bays where they were born for breeding. Their migratory patterns are highly influenced by water temperatures, so they move to warmer waters during colder months. In the United States and Mexico, these sharks are doubly in trouble because they're not only caught for commercial purposes but are also popular among the recreational fishing community, who like to go shark fishing for fun. So sometimes it can be a tough life being a shark. It's not all just about swimming around and biting things, you know. Number 1. Lemon shark. This is a shark named for the apparent yellowish hue of its skin, rather than a serving suggestion. The lemon shark lives around mangrove forests and coral reefs along the Atlantic and in parts of the Pacific Oceans. It is a superior predator but is also sought after by fishermen who sell the meat and fins of these creatures. That yellowy tone has its benefits in many of the places that the lemon shark can be found, as it allows the fish to blend in really effectively with the golden sandy shallows where it may be seen foraging for food. These sharks eat a diet of crustaceans, bony fish, stingrays, and the occasional seabird. They're well equipped for hunting. Lemon sharks have a special band of vision, allowing them to see color and fine detail of everything around them underwater. Interestingly, lemon sharks are social animals, often gathering in groups to hunt or even just to socialize, making them unique among many shark species. They also demonstrate a surprising level of intelligence, with studies showing their ability to learn and remember complex tasks. Lemon sharks have been observed using different hunting strategies depending on the type of prey they're after, highlighting their adaptability. Young lemon sharks stay close to the protective mangrove nurseries for the first few years of life, evading larger predators until they're fully grown. Although generally non-aggressive toward humans, they're still powerful creatures and should be respected in their natural habitat. They generally prefer to inhabit shallow coastal waters, but have occasionally been seen venturing into freshwater environments and will migrate through the open ocean. Do you think any of these sharks could actually be the Megalodon, or are we just being a little too imaginative? As always, share your brilliant thoughts in the comments below. Check out the other cool videos popping up on the screen, and I'll see you next time.